Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mind the Gap. I'm Casey.
And I'm Jen. Good to have you with us again. How are you doing today?
I'm all right, though. I had this tiny awkward moment last week.
Oh, really? What happened this time? You always find yourself in funny situations.
So, I went out for dinner with some friends in London, right? Everything was lovely, good food, good company, nice music. Then the bill came, and at the bottom it said, service charge included. And I froze, like completely froze. I was staring at it, thinking, should I still leave some cash, or will that look weird?
Classic. You had what we call a tipping dilemma.
Exactly. And one of my friends went, "Oh no, don't. That's so American of you."
I can picture it. But honestly, you're not alone. Loads of people, even locals, hesitate for a second when they see that line. Because in the UK, service charge included usually means you're done. You've already paid for the service. But if you cross the Atlantic to the States, that's when the real performance begins.
Oh, I know. They give you that little card machine, right? And it pops up with suggested gratuity, 18%, 20%, 25%. And you're like, what if I press the wrong one?
Exactly. You suddenly feel like you're taking a maths exam under pressure.
And the waiter's standing right there, pretending not to look, but definitely looking.
So today, let's untangle that whole thing. Why the British have service charge, why Americans live by tipping, and how not to panic when the bill lands on your table.
Yeah, and maybe by the end of it, we'll all know when to smile, when to tip, and when to just walk away with dignity.
That's the spirit. So, shall we start with that awkward moment everyone's had at least once? So, Casey, that moment you described, it's actually something most people can relate to. The bill arrives and suddenly the table goes a bit quiet, doesn't it?
Yes, everyone's pretending to keep chatting, but in their minds they're all thinking, okay, who's going to grab the bill first?
Exactly. And when you finally look down, you spot that tiny line at the bottom, service charge included. That's usually around 12.5% here in the UK. It's already been added for you, so technically you don't have to do any more maths, no extra cash, no stress.
But somehow it still feels awkward, right? Like, should I smile at the waiter? Should I say thank you again?
Yes, that awkward moment when you're signing the receipt and the waiter is standing just a few feet away pretending to tidy the table, but actually waiting for you to finish.
And you can literally feel the pressure. You're thinking, what if they think I'm stingy?
Exactly. That's the funny part. In Britain, not leaving an extra tip after that included service charge is totally normal. But in America, that would feel almost rude.
Yeah, in the States, it's like a whole social ritual. You see people calculating 18%, 20%, even 25%, as if they're doing algebra.
I know. And there's that unspoken tension when the card machine asks you to choose your gratuity. You can almost hear your brain whispering, pick the middle one, play it safe.
Yes, because if you pick the lowest, you feel guilty. If you pick the highest, you feel poor later.
So you sit there for 5 seconds, trying to look calm while your mind is screaming, just pick something.
Exactly. And you know what? I always end up overthinking. I start wondering, wait, do they even get this money or does it go to the restaurant?
Good question. Here in the UK, by law, service charge should go to the staff, but not everyone realises that. So if you want to be sure, it's absolutely fine to ask politely.
Really? So I can just say, is the service charge included and not sound rude?
Of course not. It's actually quite natural, especially if you're not sure. You can even add, just wanted to check. That softens it a bit.
Oh, that's nice. Because sometimes I just need to know what's expected, you know?
Absolutely. No one's judging you for asking, and most staff appreciate that you care enough to ask politely.
That's good to know.
Next time, I'll just smile and say it calmly instead of doing that panicked mental maths.
Perfect. You see, it's not really about the money, it's about feeling comfortable in that moment.
Yeah, I like that. Feeling comfortable when the bill comes, that's the real goal.
Exactly, and once you understand what included means, that awkward moment becomes much easier to handle.
I feel better already.
Good. Now that we've survived the bill, let's take a closer look at where this whole tipping habit actually came from, shall we? So, that awkward moment we talked about earlier, it's not just about manners. It's actually a system thing.
A system thing? You mean like how people get paid?
Exactly. You see, in the US, the whole tipping culture isn't just tradition. It's literally built into how restaurants pay their staff. There's something called the tipped wage system, which means waiters can be paid much less than the standard minimum wage because tips are expected to make up the rest.
So basically, if no one tips, they're working for free.
Pretty much, yes. And that's why Americans take tipping so seriously. It's not really optional, it's more like a moral duty. But in the UK it works differently. Here, service staff are paid at least the national minimum wage, and anything extra, like a service charge or a tip, is a genuine thank you.
So in America, customers are like part of the payroll system.
Exactly. You could say diners are unofficial employers. They help fund the staff's income through tipping.
That makes so much sense now. So when Americans calculate their tips down to the penny, it's not just manners, it's maths with consequences.
Exactly, it's a big deal for them. Whereas in the UK, since the pay structure's already set, the service charge is just added for convenience and fairness. And actually, there's a law here that says tips and service charges should go to the staff, not to the business. That's about transparency and fair pay.
That's quite decent, really. I like that it's clear where the money goes. It takes away the guessing game.
Yes, and it changes the tone of the whole experience. In the UK, you're saying thank you with a tip. In the US, you're helping someone pay rent.
That's brilliant. And kind of heavy at the same time. No wonder they care so much about gratuity.
Yeah, for Americans, gratuity isn't just generosity, it's survival.
That's wild. Meanwhile, here, if the service charge is included, I just feel relieved, like, phew, decision made for me.
Exactly. You can relax, finish your dessert, and not have to do moral maths.
Moral maths? I love that term.
Well, it's true. And understanding this difference actually makes travelling a lot smoother because you stop judging it emotionally and start seeing it as two systems that just grew differently.
That's a great way to see it. So, basically, the British model runs on structure and the American one runs on trust.
Yes, exactly. Two ways of saying thank you, both valid, just built on different ideas of fairness.
I love when something suddenly makes sense like that.
Then we're on the right track, and now that we know how the systems work, let's talk about what really happens when the numbers hit the table. So now that we've made sense of how the systems work, let's talk about what actually happens when you've got that bill in front of you.
Oh, the mental gymnastics begin. You're smiling, you're nodding, but your brain's doing maths at full speed.
Exactly. Let's go through a few typical situations, shall we? Because not every place works the same way. So first, in a British restaurant, most of the time you'll see service charge included. That means you can just pay what's on the bill. If you feel extra generous, you might round up to the nearest pound, but you don't have to.
Right, and people won't think you're stingy if you don't.
No, not at all. Honestly, in Britain, it's more awkward to insist on giving extra when it's already included.
Good to know. I always worry I look rude or, too American.
Exactly. Now, second situation, imagine you're in an American restaurant. There, the gratuity
isn't included, so you'll need to decide how much to add. The standard is around 18 to 20%, but it's more about how you felt about the service.
And if you don't leave anything, that's basically a statement.
Exactly. It sends a message, and not a very nice one. But here's the thing. In the US, since tips are part of their income, people see it as fairness. In the UK, since the staff already get paid properly, it's more like a token of appreciation.
That makes sense. But still, I always panic when I have to decide the amount. Like, if I give too little, I feel stingy. If I give too much, I feel silly.
I know that feeling. That's why some people just round up or split the difference. And when you're out with friends, you might go Dutch or split the bill. That just means everyone pays their share. Nice and simple.
Yeah, unless someone orders a bottle of wine and suddenly the maths gets complicated.
Exactly. That's when you find out who your true friends are.
So in that case, what do you usually say? Like, how do you offer politely to add a bit more?
Good question. You could simply say, "Can I add a little extra?" or "Let me put in a bit more." And if someone says it's already included, you can just smile and reply, "No, that's included, thanks."
Oh, that's really handy. Short, polite, and no drama.
Exactly. No need for drama when dessert's on the way.
I like that. No drama when dessert's on the way. I'm stealing that line.
You're welcome. But seriously, that's what people forget. Being generous isn't about throwing money, it's about being comfortable and thoughtful.
Yeah, and the opposite of generous isn't stingy. It's being awkward about it.
Exactly. Once you know the rhythm, you stop worrying. You just pay, smile, and move on.
That's so true. I guess learning how to tip is actually learning how to be relaxed.
Perfectly said. All right, let's see what happens when the British politeness kicks in, shall we?
All right, now this is where things get really British. You know how we love being polite, sometimes a bit too polite.
Oh, absolutely. I've noticed that even when something goes wrong, British people start with sorry first.
Exactly, and that's why when it comes to the bill, we have our own gentle way of saying no. For example, if you're not happy with the service or the food, you wouldn't just say, "Take it off." That sounds way too strong. Instead, you might say something like, "Would you mind removing the service charge this time?" Or even softer, "Would it be possible to remove the service charge, please?"
Oh, that sounds so polite. Like I could almost hear the waiter apologizing back, even if it's their fault.
Exactly. That's the magic of British politeness. It's like we wrap criticism in a little cushion of kindness.
So, if I want to point out a mistake, I can start with, "Sorry, there was an issue with the order," right?
Perfect. That's exactly how you do it. Start with sorry, add a gentle tone, and end with a calm question. It softens everything.
I like that, because sometimes I do want to say something, but I don't want to sound demanding.
Exactly. And another good phrase is, "It's discretionary," which means you have a choice. So if the service charge is discretionary, you're free to ask about it or even remove it.
Oh, I've seen that word before, but I never really knew what it meant.
There you go. So next time if you see discretionary, remember it's your call.
Got it. And what about tipping in pubs? I've heard it's different from restaurants.
Good question. At pubs, you don't usually tip, but if you really want to show appreciation, you can say to the bartender, "And one for yourself." It's a classic way of saying, "Let me buy you a drink."
That's adorable. I'd be too shy to say that. I'd probably just leave a coin and whisper, "Cheers."
That works too. In Britain, cheers can mean thank you, so that's perfectly fine. Or you can say, "Keep the change," if you're paying in cash.
That feels friendly but not over the top. I like it.
Exactly. That's the key to British politeness. It's about being friendly without crossing into awkward territory.
You know what? I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's like, be nice but never dramatic.
That's it. You've mastered the rule already. Politeness with balance.
So basically, when in doubt, just start with sorry, add please, and smile.
Exactly. It's the holy trinity of being British.
Oh, remember that. Now I'm ready to politely survive any awkward bill situation.
Perfect. And speaking of awkward moments, have you noticed how tipping culture in America has started to spread everywhere now?
Oh, don't even get me started. Those touch screens with tip options everywhere. I have feelings about that.
Great, because that's exactly what we're talking about next.
Jen, you mentioned earlier that tipping in the US has kind of expanded. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's everywhere now. It used to be just restaurants and cafes, but these days, even when you buy a sandwich or pick up a takeaway coffee, the screen pops up asking, "Would you like to leave a tip?"
Oh yes, that screen. The one that suddenly flips towards you with the big buttons saying 18%, 20%, 25%. I panic every single time.
I know, it's like the world's most polite form of peer pressure. They call it custom tipping now. It's supposed to make things easier, but really it just makes everyone overthink.
Exactly. You're standing there, people are queuing behind you, and suddenly you feel like the whole cafe is watching your finger.
And if you take too long, you start apologizing for thinking. That's peak awkwardness.
Like, sorry, just doing the maths.
The funny thing is, not all of those extra charges are actually tips.
Wait, really? I thought they all went to the staff.
Not always. You see, gratuity is the part that goes to the staff. It's the thank you bit. But service fee, a surcharge, usually goes to the business. It's more about covering costs than rewarding service.
So one's appreciation, the other's administration.
Exactly. That's the perfect way to put it.
But honestly, I never know what to do. I panic, smile awkwardly, and always press the middle option, just to be safe.
You and everyone else. But there's actually a polite escape line you can use. You can say, "I'll enter it manually, thanks."
Oh, that's brilliant. It sounds polite, but confident.
It tells them, "I'll decide," but in the nicest possible way.
I love that. I'll remember it for next time. And next time the screen turns around, I won't panic and hit the biggest button just to make it go away.
That's the goal. Know what you're paying for and don't let the screen guilt trip you.
I love how you make it sound like a life lesson.
In a way, it is. Tipping culture is just a mirror. It shows how people balance kindness, fairness, and pressure.
You're right. I guess the best tip I can give myself is breathe first, then pay.
Perfect. That's probably the wisest financial advice we'll ever give on this show.
Then let's end this bit before we start charging for wisdom.
Deal. Now, shall we talk about the kind of gratitude that money can't quite buy?
You know, Casey, after all this talk about tipping and service charges, I think what really matters isn't the amount, but the attitude behind it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It's really about showing that you appreciate someone's effort, isn't it?
Exactly. Whether it's gratuity in the US or service charge in the UK, both are just ways of saying thanks for looking after us.
That's such a lovely way to think about it. It makes the whole act feel a bit more human.
Exactly. And if you want a little formula to avoid confusion when you travel, here's my two-step method. Step 1, look at the bill and see if it says service charge included. Step 2, if you're not sure, just ask, is the service charge included or should I add a tip?
That's perfect. It sounds polite, simple, and clear.
Exactly. No stress, no guessing, just clarity. And if the service was good, you can always say, "Thanks for looking after us."
I love that phrase. It's such a gentle way to say thank you.
Yes, and it fits so many situations. At a cafe, in a restaurant, even in a hotel. It just sounds genuine.
That's true. Sometimes it's not about the money. It's about how you make the other person feel.
Exactly. And I think that's what good manners are really about, isn't it? Making people feel respected and appreciated.
Yeah, and honestly, that's something you can't fake. You can tell when someone's just doing it out of habit and when they actually mean it.
That's true. A real smile goes further than a 10% tip.
I like that. A real smile goes further than a 10% tip. That's our quote of the day.
I'll take that. But seriously, if you travel, just remember to be kind, stay curious, and ask politely when in doubt. That's universal.
That's beautiful. I feel like we started with awkward maths and ended with humanity.
Not bad for one episode about tipping.
It really is. And if you've made it this far, you've not only learned a few new expressions, but hopefully you'll also feel a bit more confident next time that bill comes.
Exactly, that's the goal.
All right, if you enjoyed today's episode and feel like you've learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with that friend who's about to travel abroad.
You've been listening to Mind the Gap.
And we'll see you next week.
Cheers!
Cheers!